So a question came up from a student who's already looking ahead to the final project and was asking, so how would I find data sets that I could use in this final project? How would I tie that back to a CRM type application? What would be the steps that I'd go through? So just wanted to throw out a couple of ideas here for you. First of all, there's several of these data search tools that are available out there free of charge. Kaggle is one that is probably my go-to. There's also like Google Data Search. If you just do a Google search and do Google Data Search, you'll see data sets. Now, some of them in the Google Data Search, some of those are pay for use type licenses. So I would probably stay with things that are free out there. But the places where you can find sample data sets for data science related initiatives, there's tons of places out there where you can do that. My favorite go-to is probably Kaggle. So all you got to do is just kaggle.com, filter down on the data sets, and then you just get a nice pretty listing of data sets right here. So then kind of choosing from within these data sets, well, how would I choose something? Well, that's pretty much sky's the limit. So in here, let's just say I was just looking down through this, just choose one at random. Let's say ramen ratings. So it's gonna let's take a look at this one real quick. This one here looks like it's product review website. Hardcore ramen enthusiasts, for instance, 2,500 reviews. And so it gives you some information about the brand, the variety, the style, the country, etc. So you could create a scenario that would say, hey, listen, I'm interested in starting a ramen business or expanding my ramen business from my store, wanting to get into different markets. I'm seeing things like country here, like if you were going to go international with it. You could see like various styles. Hey, I want to try a new style of ramen, for instance. Those could potentially be areas that you could work off of. So if I was going to do something like this, I would probably start first with an unsupervised behavioral segmentation type analysis. So I would kind of look and see what is my customer groupings, or for this data set, where would I see those customer groupings that are out there. So again, take the data set, repurpose it to a particular scenario. You just make the scenario up. Or if you have a data set that you'd like to use that is actually with something that you do, that's also good as well. Another example I saw just kind of running down through the list was like the loan default data set. Now this one here has quite a bit more. It has 34 columns of data, and as you can see, it's got things like demographic information, it's got credit worthiness, it's got a credit score that goes along with it. So if I was going to do something along these lines, I would say, hey, I'm a financial company. I'm interested in marketing additional loan products out to some of my customers. I could use this data set in order to understand the customers using behavioral segmentation, but then turn around and do a classifier. I may want to just do a classifier and say, let me see if I could predict the credit score, the potential credit score for that individual if I knew some of the pieces of this. So that's just kind of a couple of examples just pulled from the list. And as you can see, the list of data sets, it's quite diverse and it's all over the place. So there's all kinds of things from which to kind of draw a use case and build a use case out. This is probably my go-to site that I would go to for doing an exercise like this, just because it has just about any kind of industry, any kind of area that you could be interested in. You'll find a public data set available to you to use. So that's just kind of a couple of tips. And then once you get it into your actual stream, then you'll go through the process. So here, that default data set, I've actually created a classifier looking at credit score and then doing credit score and doing some analysis off the credit score and actually trying to determine different parts of that components of that credit score, working those out. So hopefully that helps. Again, we're still early in the course, but you should kind of be thinking through what kind of a data set would you use. But that's kind of how I would walk through the process of finding a data set, dreaming up a scenario that it could apply to, tying it back to something CRM related, and building it out into a model. So as always, if you have continued questions on this, please just reach out, either the help desk forum or email, or come to the office hours. Thanks all.